Hi everyone, this is Diane. I've been working today getting things listed in my shop, and I thank those of you who have gone in and purchased some of the items. There are still some things left, but I just always appreciate it when things just start leaving my shop after I've gotten them listed. It's just so heartwarming to me that you guys are so eager to come and see what I've got and take some things home with you to help me thin my supplies out and encourage me to keep bringing home supplies from flea markets and whatnot so I can share them with you. But today, and then after I got the things listed, I finished putting together the covers for the glue books. So we're going to look at them. But first of all, before I got started on the glue books, I was cleaning up my space and I had all these little strips and pieces that I didn't want to throw away, and I wanted to save them to use in collages. And then I thought, I have so many little pieces. I think I need to change this. I have so many little pieces around and they just hang out and don't get used. So I decided to just take some time the other day, and I'm just going to glue this down better. I think I just used glue stick for all this stuff. And I am going to sew some of the seams, maybe with a dark thread. But I took scraps of paper. It's not even cardstock, it's just printer paper where I had cut things out and there were scraps left over. So I just glued stuff on, and I can cut these into whatever I want them to be. And this is even one of the embossed pieces. This is one that was stamped, dyed papers, digital papers, and scrapbook papers. Whatever size scraps I had, and this one was even missing the corner, but I filled it in and it can still be something. This was out of a magazine. Map paper. Even a postcard that was cut out of a scrapbook paper. And a bigger piece. Oh, I'm just not getting this angle right. Let's try that. So I'll have these, I'll put them over by my sewing machine so I can remember to sew them, sew the seams, and then cut them up and have them ready to use. The other thing I did was, as I was tidying up and putting my bits of little fabrics and ribbons things away, this little basket that has fabrics that I use for fabric flips, and this has tiny ones that I can use to add to the fabric flips or make clusters with, and this has little bits of lace. But this one was really full. So I took all three of these little totes, little tubs, into the living room with me when I watched TV last night, and I put together a bunch of fabric flips. We're not going to look at them all, but I just put a bunch of fabric flips and clusters together. They're not sewn, but they are all pinned. So these are the little clusters. I got a lot done. And some, like this little strip of patchwork, I'm just going to put it somewhere so I can use it just as it is. I don't need to make a cluster out of it. That one too. And this, I just cut this into a nice row of polka dots so I can just embellish a page with these just as they are. So I have these all ready to be sewn together and to put with my fabric flips so that I can add them to journals. So those are just some things I did to kind of start using up some scraps. Now for the glue books. This is the one I did on camera, and I think I added this on the camera too. I haven't done anything else to this. So this is ready to be used as a glue book, or ready to be, filled in. This is one that was requested a lot. I had said that I would reserve one, and this was the one that got requested, and then other people were requesting it too. And I had to tell everyone that it was already requested. It's already reserved. And the other ones will go in my shop. So thank you for all of you who inquired about it. I know it's a gorgeous cover. There was one other cover that was requested. Everyone else wanted this one. So I hope that since this one is already going to be sold to someone, that you will be interested in some of the other covers also. So that one you saw. This is the other one that someone wanted. So she still has a shot at it, because it's not going to be reserved. So if she gets to my shop first for this, she'll be able to get it. So this one was really fun. I had said I was going to piece some fabrics together to create the spine fabric, so that's what I did. And then added some blue rickrack, and I just love that it's got a different design on the back than on the front. It's just a really fun glue book. So this one and this one will probably cost a little bit more than the others, because this one is thicker and I'll add more pages to it, and this one I'm going to do a little bit more of a theme to it. It's not going to be totally circus theme, but I'm going to get out my box of circus stuff because I have a lot of it, and I will want to use some of it in here. I don't do themed glue books because they're just supposed to be blank pages for you to glue on, but I can't resist using this journal and using some of my circus items. This is the one I'm keeping because my glue book is almost full, and I like the way it turned out. The purple is subtle enough that I really like it. I just love this cover. I remember these books at my grandmother's house, and I guess I'm a very detail-oriented person, and I remember even as a child sitting and just looking at all of the details on these covers. So turn these lights away from it. I have 3 lights and they're all glaring on it. Now it's kind of dark, but these are perfect for junk journalers, because this is what we do. We gather all these items and put them together in a way that pleases our eye, and that's what this is. It's kind of like a what do you call it? Not a mood board, but maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Can't remember what it's called, but you put your color palette and your ideas and things together on one board to kind of inspire you. So maybe it's an inspiration board. That's the same on that side. So this one is mine, but this one will be in the shop. It's got the starfish and the musical instrument and this space photo, more musical instruments. So it's got several, some stamps, and this little piece of paper that has a image of a stained glass on it. And I do like the way this fabric looks with it. This one I had a hard time choosing the fabric, but I did end up with this one, and I think it just looks really nice. I thought that was a purple thread there, but it's a string. It is a purple thread. It's a string tying the starfish up. So there's that one, and then the next one, the last one that'll be in the shop is this one, and it is smaller. I'm going to turn my lights back around here. This isn't quite so glossy. It's a smaller book, so you'd have a smaller page to work on in case you're intimidated by a large page. But it's really beautiful with this white background. Beautiful image. And I love the fabric and the rickrack that I chose to complement it. So that is what we will be working on. So I will have to cut the pages for one book at a time because they're all different sizes and I don't want to mix myself up, but these two I can do at the same time. So the next thing I want to do is talk about the pages that are going to go in these journals. And maybe we'll cut some, I don't know. I've gathered a bunch of items here to be pages. So I have these Career in Ives calendar pages, And I still have some of these in my shop. I'm hoping that by using them in these journals, you will see how much you really need to have these in your stash. You would get, I'm putting a plug in here, you would get 6 of these full sheets. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4 pages in one of these big journals, and with paper left over. This is bigger than I need for one page. And you would get 6 of these. So that's 24 pages for a large journal in one bundle. And each page would have a picture on one side and the calendar on the other. So I'm going to put some of these pages in the glue books. I have this large graph paper pad that I got at a flea market, so I'll be putting some of that in. I'm not sure where I got this paper, but it's a large piece of paper, and it was put up with some of my big papers like this, so I remember to use them. So, like I said, I don't know where it came from, but I'm going to use it and get it out of my pile. And there's a gray paper also. I wonder if I got them in a Happy Mail. I don't know. This is just a paper that I used on my desk for spraying, and it was just my paper that I always have on my desk when I'm working to protect my mat. So I might use that. This one was up there also, but it's more like a newsprint, and I don't want to use that in there. It's not as good quality of paper. I also have these that came out of a photo album, and I could leave the holes there so you could play with them. But this could go in the book like this, and then you could attach a card to that or whatever. I've got several of those pages, quite a few of those, so I'll maybe put one in each journal. I have these that I just got from Stampin' Up! Not too long ago. These were on clearance. And these are made for having on your paper on your table, like I did with this one, but it's for making the cards or whatever you're doing with your Stampin' Up! Stuff, so it has the grid. So it had the new in colors that were put out whatever season this was printed, and it was being discontinued, so I got it on clearance, and it's double-sided. So I thought that would be really fun to put in a journal glue book. And then I have these kinds of pages that came out of binders that I thought would be really fun. So I have several of the gardening or plant ones. These are trees and flowers. And then some that came out of a craft book. And these are, I think everything I pulled out was knitted garments. And I thought how fun these would be in a glue book. You could glue things around the face or cover them up, whatever. And then you've got just the instructional pages that you could cover up with your glued images. I have these large cards. I have this little drawer in my closet that I forgot about. And the drawer is labeled, it's not a big drawer, but it's labeled for large journals. So it had things like, not big papers, but big things to add to the pages. Because these are usually too big for journals that I'm making. So these are just little calendar cards. So maybe if I put an envelope or a pocket in the glue books, I could tuck one of these cards in, and you could glue stuff on it. If you don't like how, I wouldn't want to cover that up. But if you didn't like the picture, if you didn't mind covering it, you could cover up the picture too. I'm not sure if I'll put this in or not, but this is a really great, looks like a medal. It says I done real good. I might just save that and put it in another kind of journal. And these I got in a Happy Mail. They were tops off of Folgers coffee. And they're really cute, so maybe I'll use them. I have these that I got at an estate sale, so they're pretty big. So this might be a fun pocket in one of the journals to stash, in some of the glue books, to stash glue things that you want to glue down. So it would fit in here. Wouldn't fit in the My Book House one. So we'll see. And then it has the record cards too, which are adorable. So these are just things that are usually too big to fit into journals that I'm making. I also have these canvas pennants or banners, and this one out of felt. I don't even know where I got these. And this was in a box of stuff I got at the flea market. I have a couple of these sacks. I think I got these in a Happy Mail. And this large envelope came with this handmade stationery, recycled handmade paper made in India. But I thought maybe I could put that in a signature. And these are fun. These are like little pocket folders. So on the, maybe on some of the bigger journals, maybe only this one. I think this is the tallest one. I could cut that off if I wanted to, but I could glue this on a page or on a cover. So this would be a great way to use up some of these big pieces. I have these two large teacher's books that I got at, I think I got them at the thrift store. So there's two different ones. I took pages out of each. Different kinds of book pages. So these are large art books. These are some Time Life book pages. I just pulled this out. I don't know if I want to use these. Probably not. I'll save those for a different kind of journal. Because if they were in my book, I wouldn't want to cover them. This is from a children's book that I thought would be fun in there. From a very vintage children's songbook. Got these pattern pages. They're vintage. So they're folded up. They're huge sheets folded up. So I'll have to work at cutting them down to fit. And just some larger pages from different things. This is a planner cover. So that would be a fun page. And then some large pages from atlases. And scrapbook paper. That's what I have pulled. I am only at 17 minutes, so I am going to cut some. If you want to hang out while I cut, I would welcome your company. Let's start with, not the circus one, because I need to get my circus stuff out just to see what I want to do. I'll use some of these, a lot of these pages in the circus book, but I don't feel ready yet. So let's start with this one. The cover is not quite 7, and I don't want it to go all the way to the edge, so I'm going to cut the papers 6 3/4, so it would be 13 and a half, I think. So some of them I can cut that big, like those, and scrapbook papers, maybe I would sew them to make them bigger. So 13 and a half. I hope I did that math right in my little head that doesn't like to do numbers. I can do it fine on paper. By 9 3/4. And I don't remember numbers at all, so I am going to write it down. 13 and a half by 9 3/4, and that's the biggest size. Let's see, I said 6 3/4, right? So 12 8/4, so it would be 13 and a half. I did it right. That's the size papers I want to cut for that journal and my own journal. So this only goes to 12. there is 13 and a half. And this is gonna cut 4 pages, but they're still folded here. So I can fold it, and then I'll be able to fit it on there to cut the height. I want to cut this part off because it's a jagged cut where it was folded. And it needs to be 9 3/4 high. There's 1 page. I don't know how many pages I will put in each signature. I'll count the pages in my own glue book that I'm working in right now because that seems to be a good size. It's filling up nicely. It's almost full, and it's not too fat, and it won't fatten up too much more. Maybe I have more to do in it than I think, because I always think I'm almost done, and then I flip through and find a lot more that I want to add to, but I think it's a pretty good size. And I'll make sure, I'm not sure what size the spine is, so that will be a factor also. These spines are 2.5, except for the one that was already spoken for. I said I will add more pages to that because it's a 3-inch spine, because I used the original spine. Even that edge up. And all of the pages won't be this. This is the biggest size that the pages can be. And some of the pages won't be that big. So you'll have, it's kind of fun sometimes to have a smaller page, and then you can try to make it what you glue here kind of coordinate with what's going to show behind it. I think I'll put this in the circus book, because this is tall. Maybe I'll just go ahead and cut that right now. The circus book is 10.5. So I'm going to cut this. I'm spilling pins over here. These pins don't even belong here, and I'll take care of them later, but I tipped them over. What did I say, 10.5? Told you I don't remember numbers. Yep, 10.5. This is not a good crease because it had papers inside it, so it's, it's not flat. So I'm going to flatten it out. I'm just going to put this with the circus book. I can cut that, finish cutting it later. So this one is already folded, so I know I need it to be 6 3/4 instead of 13 and a half. Fun pages. And they'll be even more fun when you start gluing your own stuff on them. I'm not trying to put the same type of pages. Like, I don't need to match up. Every signature has to have one of these, etc. I'm just cutting enough papers, and then I will just mix and match them. I know I need a new blade in here. And these are, it's a thin paper, but it's two papers at once. I'm just going to keep cutting till I have enough pages for 6 signatures, because this is 2 books worth. Alright, so this is a doll pattern that opens up pretty big. This will fit on the cutter. So I'm going to cut this at 13 and a half. Okay, couldn't find my mark. Just cut this fold. Oh, there's another fold there. Save these pieces for one of the other journals. I thought it might be more interesting for you to watch me cut these papers than just cut up the scrapbook papers. Scrapbook papers will be a lot easier. I have these patterns too that might be on bigger papers. They might be about the same, but you just watched me do that sort of thing. This is, I don't know if this is going to be too fragile, so I'm going to fold it and see. I think it's good. It's the flyleaf of a songbook, vintage songbook. I think I bought this at the library when my kids were young, and we actually played and sang out of it, and then I used it with my grandkids too. But it was an old book at the time that I bought it. I think that's good. These, I think I can just... I love these with the 80s sweaters, so I'm going to put one in each signature maybe. Or one of those and one with the plants in each signature. I don't even need to cut them. Don't need to cut that one lengthwise. It's not quite 13.5 inches. My blade keeps falling off. I don't know why that happens when it's time for a new blade, but it does. I have new blades, I just haven't changed it yet. It's not actually doing that bad cutting, so I don't want to replace it until I really have to. Gets to the point where I'm sick of putting it back on, so then I replace it. I have so many different book pages, so I don't need to put more than one of each kind in a particular journal. Okay, that's book pages are pretty basic. Look at some of this other stuff. These will just be additions. Nothing I need to cut right now, so I'm going to move these out of my way. I think I was going to use this too. This is another pad that Stampin' Up! Had to put on your table to protect your table. But it's wintry and red, so it looks Christmassy, but I'm going to use it anyway because I just don't know if I would actually use it too much in a Christmas journal. Maybe if I was making a big domestic arts Christmas journal, which I probably will. Oh yeah, the back is green too. Because I have several Christmas craft books, the big ones. But this is a different dimension than the other one from Stampin' Up! I'll save that piece. Oh, it's here. I thought it fell off again. It's there. And then this one. It's probably too big. Yep. Where shall I cut it? right where that pink ends. I want to keep the flowers on it, so I'm going to cut the brown off, I guess. I cut the flowers off on that side, so it didn't matter. I could have cut it and would have had the flowers on one side or the other. These papers, these little scraps, will be really fun to do something with. Even just to decorate the edge of a page. Maybe the longer I use the blade, the more it wears down and it gets loose. Maybe that's why it falls off when it's time to replace it. Okay. Oops, sorry. Bumped you. This one, I don't know if I'll have to cut it at all. Nope. I missed the wastebasket. I don't know why I had to stop and pick it up right then. Just a tiny bit too big to fit on my cutter. So this is 4 layers of paper here. Did it. I think this is already small enough, but I just want to even up some of the edges. And I think that I'm going to say goodbye. And I thank you for coming and crafting with me, even while I do the boring stuff if you're still here. It's nice to, even if you're not there, I think somebody's out there keeping me company while I'm doing this. So thank you. And I will see you in the next video. And I hope you have a creative day today. Bye-bye.